What is the blue? People saying the blue, the blue.
Perfect. We're on.
We're on. All right, man. First episode of the Boston Blues. How you doing?
Good, man.
Good. How's everything been?
Very good. It's funny. So we could start. I'll start off with something good because this will be interesting for people. What is your thoughts, or because I know I've talked to you about this before, follistatin.
Follistatin. If it's real,
It's real.
if it's real, it's highly beneficial. Honestly, I've only had a few guys that have really been able to utilize it overseas that are able to obtain it. But I have seen some differences, but nothing like that are just like, amazing, nothing crazy.
The reason why I brought that up is because I don't spend money on drugs anymore. But I ended up spending money on veterinarian grade follistatin. It came from Canada, and I'm going to be using the horse protocol. So not the human protocol, but the horse protocol, the horse and camel protocol. And it's going to cost me a lot of money. It's a 10-day cycle. I think it cost me around $790 for 10 days of veterinarian grade. It's in my refrigerator. I haven't started it yet. I'm waiting for this is probably the heaviest I've ever been in my life right now. So I'm waiting for myself to hit like a little bit of a plateau. But the reason why I wanted to mention this now is, the next podcast we do, I'll probably be on it, and I can update people on how it actually went.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're looking thick right now. How are you doing right now?
It's the heaviest I've ever been. It's hard, man. Carrying this much weight is kind of hard.
What's your weight at?
It's close to 280.
280.
But I'm a lean 280 though. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not like a fucking blubber. A blubber.
Are you checking your blood pressure a lot?
I refuse to. It's that bad, dude. My blood pressure is that bad. Every time I go to get my blood pressure done at like the clinics here, or like for whatever reasons, they want to rush me to the ER. They say I'm in stroke territory.
Oh boy.
But you know what it is? You know what it is, Blue? Is sometimes I'll get awesome readings, and some days I'll get bad readings. But a lot of the things is like I don't trust the cuff sometimes because the cuff is not that big. You know what I mean? I have bigger arms, so sometimes the cuff doesn't even fit me. So I don't even know if they're getting an accurate reading because some days it'll be fine, and then some days it'll be fucking crazy. So who knows?
Yeah. Are you going to a facility and getting it checked? Like, cause I remember when I was, getting really heavy back in the day, I just went to, like a medical supply store and then we would do it here at the house.
Like, do you consider like okay, this is like a good reading for me. It's like 150 over like 90.
It's one of those things where, of course your doctor's going to trip, but the thing is that based on your lifestyle and what you're doing right now, I think that those numbers are okay temporarily.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dave Palumbo and I talked to Chad Nichols, and I tried some blood pressure meds.
Mm-hmm.
Because Dave said get on Ramipril, which is an ACE inhibitor, and
Mm-hmm.
a big talk right now in bodybuilding is blood pressure. So I got on the Ramipril, dude. I will never ever touch blood pressure meds again. I would rather die at the age of fucking 50 years old than feel the way that I did on blood pressure meds. They made me like a zombie, like literally like a fucking emotionless zombie. So I said, you know what? I can't live life like this. So I got off of them,
Well, I noticed with some clients that are prescribed, did you experience like nausea and just like complete loss of appetite?
No, the appetite, dude. I was just a zombie, like just like literally, like I could literally sleep 24 hours out of the day.
Wow.
Yeah, it fucked me up, man.
Well, I mean, as long as you keeping an eye on things and what you're doing, is obviously temporary, So I mean, you're more than fine. It's just keeping an eye on it.
Yeah, but like you said, like if you have higher blood pressure and you're still gonna live the lifestyle, I'm not gonna check that shit every day and stress myself out about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, once a week, start there. So it doesn't so you get freaked
I
out.
was doing that shit every day for a while until I said, "Fuck this." Got on the blood pressure medication, yes, my blood pressure did get low, but dude, I'm not living life like a fucking zombie. There's no way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow. Well, you may be 300 pounds by the next video.
We'll see. I need to fix my sleep schedule. I know that your sleep schedule is worse than mine, but I think a big part of bodybuilding is setting up a solid sleep schedule.
Absolutely, man. That is so important. Cortisol, your hormones, man. I mean, everything. It dictates and
I
regulates
like
everything.
even napping throughout the day instead of getting like a full 8 hours is horrible. Like I think you should get a full 8 hours of sleep, opposed
I
to
agree.
napping 2 hours here, 1 hour here. You know what I mean?
No, I can honestly, I don't remember the last time I've slept over 3 hours. I honestly don't remember. I'll do little like this
You
weekend from
sleep?
doing.
Do you and your wife sleep in the same bed?
Oh yeah, yeah. But see, like I go around the house constantly. So I'm like, I'll go downstairs and like, people don't even know, or I'll go down to the lower level and like I'll be playing pool and doing, phone calls and people don't even know. So I'm like on the phone nonstop and then I'll look over, at the clock and the game room or whatever, and it'll be like, 5 in the morning. I'm playing pool and I'm talking to somebody in Japan. So
Okay.
but it's you know me, I'm super OCD, and it's just like I just like this weekend from doing check-ins and everything like that, and then there was a bump in schedule because of the Super Bowl because people watched that and they didn't check in on time and all that stuff, and so I'm still working on check-ins, and like this weekend I slept from Friday until like this morning. I only slept like 5 hours total.
That's insane, man.
But I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, me and my wife discuss that often.
How many bodybuilding days were you getting a full 8 hours?
What's that?
In your bodybuilding days, were you getting a full 8 hours?
Oh, bro, I was a bear. Like I was a complete loser. All I would do is take naps all day long. I would go, I would sleep at least 8 to 10 hours. All my close friends that lifted with me, sometimes they'd come over to the house and they would come marching in my room, screaming shit, jumping on the bed because I was sleeping all the time. Like I
That's how
remember,
I feel right now, man. It's like I was 220 pounds just 2 months ago.
yeah, that's
So
that's a lot of weight to put on.
for me to put on all that weight, I just want to sleep all day. If I'm not active and up, I fall asleep.
Yeah, but that's okay though. Take advantage of it. The more you sleep, the more you're gonna grow.
Yeah.
Sleep, sleep, sleep. Absolutely, you'll feel so much better through your whole process. That's more than fine.
I figured it was the orals that I was on too, because I'm using a combination of D-ball and Anadrol, injectable D-ball, injectable Anadrol, as well as oral Anadrol and oral D-ball, and I feel like that makes you really tired too.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. Just that weight, man. Just you moving around, it's you're gonna get more fatigue
I
than
think I think it's more pain in the ass right now because I was 220 on that DMP run 2 months ago. So putting on all that weight in 2 months, your body's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, yeah.
What's your
Well,
weight right now?
you remember I've been clean. I've been clean for 18 months. I haven't touched.
Are you still training?
I still train, yeah, about 3 to 4 times a week. Nothing crazy. I still stay at my low day is like 228, right in there.
You feel good at that weight?
I feel amazing. Like it's pretty weird. Like physically and mentally, emotionally, like I feel really good, really
How
balanced.
bad did you feel at like 270?
Well, the most I ever got was around 250.
Okay.
And it was a chore, just to tie my shoe. Like it was bad, just playing with my dogs or my kids. It definitely wasn't comfortable, but now, I feel much better. I mean, it's just, your clothes are a little bit baggier. I mean, um, just small things. You're just a little softer,
Yeah.
but okay for me. It's just because like before my passion was into building myself, and now my passion is into building others. And so like my complete obsession is with doing what I did with everybody else. And so for now, I'm just kind of, orchestrating things. So I'm not too worried on myself as long as I go 3 or 4 times a week, just to stay healthy.
Well,
But
you already built up your client base, and and your days are pretty much behind you. You're not going to make a comeback or anything.
No, no. And I know that the chemicals are always there. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I really wanted to, I could start 15 IUs a G tomorrow with, this, and that. And I would end up exploding. I'd be 250. I'd probably end up hitting 260 because, just maintaining, being clean. It would be freaky. And I know the way my obsessive nature is. If I was to go back and get in that state of mind, I would end up competing again because I would end up getting, pretty crazy freaky. And so I would end up saying, okay, well, what can I do now? It being
Yeah.
even bigger. But it's just not,
It's a bad mindset to get into because I'm in that mindset, and it's a constant fight. It's a constant battle in your head.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, definitely. And you have OCD, I have OCD. People, don't, touch base on that a whole lot, but it really is a thorn in your side during off season. Anything. If you miss a meal, it haunts you. Anything.
I took a shot today in my legs, right? And I pulled out, and it started fucking squirting blood like a fucking horror story, right? And I like all I could think about is how much gear did I lose? Like, did I just lose blood because I pulled out and I nicked the vein, or did gear squirt out? I'm like, should I do the shot again? Like, it's fucked up, dude. The shit that goes through your head. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely, dude. I remember being sick and I was at the house and I wasn't even so much focused on my physical, symptoms of being sick. I was pissed because I knew that there were other people at the gym making gains and I wasn't. I would seriously obsess and it would bother me that I'm not there. I'm missing out. I'm missing, one step closer to where I want to be. It would drive me crazy. But yeah, no, definitely OCD plays a huge part. But, like we've talked about before, it's a double-edged sword. That's also what makes people very successful at things, and especially bodybuilding, because, it keeps us in line.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, did you want to hit some of these questions, these customer questions?
Yeah.
These guys. All right. So the first one is a guy we both helped this guy at one point in time. He wanted to know he's getting ready for the Arnold, so that's why the Arnold amateur. He wants to know that our thoughts on Nolotil. So, I use Nolotil for my last show. They come in 5 ml ampules, and you only need like 1 cc per head, and you do it like the night before the show and then the morning of. You got to go super deep though, because if you don't go deep, it'll bubble at the surface and it'll look like shit. And if you shoot too much at once, you could pass out because this stuff is and it's used to induce labor in like cows. So I use it for my show, man. I'll be honest, I wouldn't use it again. I didn't see it that much of a difference, but because I was dehydrated and I used diuretics. Now, I heard like with genetic black guys who keep some fluids in, who have round muscle bellies, I heard it works amazing for guys like that. Now, I did use it in the gym a couple weeks prior, and I had water in me. I had everything in me, and the pumps lasted for like an hour after the training session. So for that, it was awesome. I love that. But as far as pre-contest and using it for the show, I didn't see much of a difference, except it being a pain in the ass that I had to shoot it. You know what I mean? So what have your been any experiences that you have with it?
I personally have not used it, but I've had a few clients use it. And the only thing that we really watched for with one case, and it worked amazing with his arms, is we just did it. Some guys will do it the night before, but because of the inflammation, sometimes it causes that water retention. So what I had him do is just do it, 3 to 4 days out. So we were able to get the inflammation, but not, and the water was already gone by the time, we stepped on stage a few days later.
So you only let them do it like 3 or 4 days out. You didn't have them do it the day of the show.
You can with some people. Like, I mean, it really comes down to, that, like you were saying, that individual, some guys just stay insanely dry, they're, so you can pretty much play with anything and they're just going to look fuller. So I've had a couple of guys where they were able to do that, but the other guy, we knew that, there'd be a little bit of fluid retention. So we backed it up. So that way he was able to, volumize that area. And if there was any water, it would be minimal, but fall off by the time we hit the stage. And that's what happened. And it worked perfectly.
I'm shocked that Hani didn't have you do that for like one of your shows.
No, it's funny is like, back in the day, he didn't even want me touching synthol.
Wow.
Nothing, because you remember when I got my pro card, like when I was working with Hani, I mean, back in 2009, like I didn't really do anything. I wasn't into insulin and all that stuff. So like it was a little bit of Winnie, a little bit of Prope, that type of a deal, a little bit of EQ. It wasn't until after getting my pro card that, I ventured off by myself a bit and started really diving into growth hormone and insulin and got the most growth. And then I started getting into synthol. And then when we went back to, my first pro show in 2011, when I was like, almost 40 pounds heavier, the topic came up because he's like, how'd you put on 40 pounds in the last 18 months? Because he knew something was up. And I started to tell him a couple of things. He's like, I remember a couple of conversations. He's like, you know what? I don't want to know. And then, well, there was a time where, I was doing insulin during the prep, and I wasn't supposed to. And then we were like 6 weeks out from the Sacramento Pro. And he goes, dude, you're just growing. You're just getting bigger and leaner every day. He's like, be honest with me now. Are you on insulin? And and I go, and I was scared. I'm like, yeah, I am. And I'll never forget. He's like, okay, don't you change anything. I thought he was gonna go crazy and say, you lied to me. You're fired. Whatever. But yeah, no, he didn't have
Dude,
me.
yeah. Hani, I don't know if he's like this with you, but he trained a buddy I knew that was a teen bodybuilder. And dude, Hani flipped out on this kid. This is how involved of a coach Hani was back in 2009. This was in 2009 because this kid was doing teen nationals. This kid told Hani that instead of salmon for meal five, he was having it earlier in the day, and he was bringing the egg whites down. Dude, Hani, I saw the text messages. Hani flipped out on him. He's like, you need to be having salmon with number five. I have it there for a fucking reason. He was fucking pissed, dude. And like that's what I like first loved about that. Like in 2009, that's when he was going to the Cal. He trained the winner, the guy that won the Cal of the year, the whole show. He trained, and Hani was at the show in Culver City. That was before his whole Evogen blew up. And I think that's what I respected about him the most is because he was so anal. He didn't
Yes.
give a fuck about macros. He didn't give a fuck about anything, but he would look at the athlete and say, "All right, we're gonna do salmon with meal five, and we're gonna do this." And if the client wasn't doing exactly what he had him doing, he would go absolutely berserk.
Yes, no, that is true. That is true. Yeah, he definitely. I mean, because I had a couple other friends that worked with him at the same time as me, and Hani does kind of click with different people, and with me and him, we got along fantastic. I did a ton of artwork at the time, for him for his house. And so, we did, some trades there, with training, and he treated me just amazingly. Like we talked on the phone multiple times throughout the week. I mean, he was fantastic. But then, like, a couple other people that were working with him at the same time were like, dude, man, I just get an email, ever so often, and I've never even heard this guy's voice. And I'm thinking to myself, I talked to him twice earlier
Well,
today.
a lot of the guys that I know that work with him, Hani wouldn't discuss the cycles on an email. He would call them and have them write it down.
Yeah, I could see that. I
Well,
could
because
see that. Yeah.
he didn't. I mean, that's smart because he didn't want to shit. Caught. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, Pawnee's extremely smart. I learned so much from that guy. He's amazing. He really is amazing at what he does.
Yeah, and supposedly he told me because I talked to him a few times. He told me he was a pretty good natural bodybuilder back in the day. I don't know how good he was, but
Yeah, I think he did do natural bodybuilding like way back.
yeah, I
Way.
think 2001 or 2002. I think.
It's so trippy, how everything, kind of destiny works. It's like I remember when I was first starting to lift weights, and then I went to the Olympia in 2005, and I met was it Chris Cook? Was one of those guys at a booth, and he was like, "Oh man, you got a ton of potential." And he hands me a card with Hani's name and phone number, and he goes, "You need to call this guy. He's my coach. You need to hook up with this guy." And I'm just looking at it like, "How do you pronounce the name?" Like
Yeah.
I had no clue. I didn't know anything. And then 3 years down the
Dude,
road,
he's trained all the USA winners. Like he trained Kuklo when Kuklo turned pro. I think that was the best Kukla look was when he won the 2011 USA's. He's trained a lot of those top guys.
Yeah, the year that I got my pro card, I mean, he also trained Seth Feroshi.
Brosky with yeah, that was when Seth uh, he won his class at nationals and Jeff Long was in that show.
Yes, yeah, that was it was crazy because I remember.
Hey,
Uh,
but Seth he's one of the few guys that bashes Hani. Seth claims that Hani almost nearly killed him.
I've heard of things, but I just stay out of it. I have no clue.
Hani told me. I remember talking to Hani about this at the Max Muscle. He told me that Seth had a allergic reaction to toothpaste the night before the show. I don't know the severity of it, but I guess his body started like shutting down, dude.
Oh wow! See, I didn't know anything
This was
about
at
that.
his first pro show, his very first pro show.
I just remember Seth like was just a complete beast. That dude. I always
Yeah,
wondered why I
why
didn't
do
see
you
him
think
go
now
on.
he still looks great?
Oh yeah, he was one of those guys like I remember seeing him and then went into light heavies and I was thinking to myself, dude, this guy's gonna be at the Olympia, in the
Easily,
202s easily.
easily, dude. He could have been a 212 Olympian,
Yes, I believe that.
because he's a shorter guy.
Yeah, yeah, amazing bodybuilder. He was a super nice guy too.
And dude, I think that he could still, if he turned pro at 198 and he looked like that with an added 14 pounds of muscle and a little sharper, he could beat a Derek Lunsford. I really do think that if Seth wanted to make a comeback, he could.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree, absolutely. I've seen
And
a
the
couple
reason
of
why
pictures
I say he could beat a Derek Lunsford is because the muscle maturity of all those years of training, I think would show on stage. Because Derek has that spongy muscle. It's a softer looking muscle.
Yeah, Derek has so much potential. It is just insane. I just think that he needs, trying to say it in a nice way, he
No,
needs.
he's no longer with those guys, man. They had a big falling out.
Oh, really?
Are,
Who's he
are you
working
talking?
with?
Are you talking about Ben Pekulski?
No, I was talking about whoever that one guy he works with
Oh,
now.
oh no, he's still with the same coach, but
He
he was
needs to.
training. He was training at Ben Pekulski's gym. I do agree with you.
He
James,
needs to get within a.
James's coach. James's coach is a very nice guy, and he would be very good for guys that want to put on size because he's not afraid to use lots of growth and insulin and stuff like that on his guys, and for that it's fine. But Derek at that level needs someone like a Chad Nichols, like a George Farah, someone who's been doing this a while that can dial him in and that knows, you know, on the Olympia stage because every percent counts. So I agree with you on that. But he's no longer training with Ben Pekulski. Like they had a big falling out. He's not even at that gym.
Yeah, well, that's good. Yeah, he definitely, I'm always very honest with things. I think he's a great dude, good Christian guy, but he needs an elite coach. He needs a top level
I agree. I
coach.
agree with you there.
To me, it trips
Well,
me out.
dude, think about it. Think about it. It costed him the win last year. It costed him the win. Not having an elite coach and having a coach that double guessed, kept his water in, had him eat burgers a couple days out. And he'll even admit it. He'll even admit that they did stuff wrong and they'll they're going to learn from their mistakes. But the
Yeah.
thing is you can't, and that's why they came back better at night show because they stopped drinking water. But he kept the water in the whole time. So, which you can't do that when you're sodium sensitive and you
Well,
have burgers 2 days before the show.
you can't do that at the Olympia.
That's what
you
I'm
know,
saying. But
you
it
know,
cost him to win because me and you both know if he was even 95%, he would have beat the guy that Aceto had.
yeah, I would. Either way, I wish him the best.
Yeah.
He's a great person. I wish him the
It's only
best.
a matter of time before he goes his own way and does hire an elite coach.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, you
But
know
you
who
got to give him credit for being loyal,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very
Hey,
loyal. That's for sure.
you fucked it up once. If you fuck me up twice, then I'm dead. If he gets fucked up this Olympia and he looks like shit, he's gone, dude. There's no way he's gonna go back to him.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, I truly think he could do his own thing all the way, and maybe just the last week have a top coach just look after the last moments. And you know what sometimes the secret sauce is it's doing nothing. Don't do anything.
Yeah, but believe it or not, Derek is one of those guys, man, that he needs guidance. Like I've had Derek over my house and like we've talked. He needs guidance. Like he's not in the mental state in a prep to call his own shots. He would double guess himself. He's not like a confident bodybuilder in the sense of making diet decisions and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Well, either way, yeah, I hope he finds his way to
Dude, your guy Dwayne has potential to be good too, but he's a fatty.
if Dwayne, I truly believe this, man, and I'm not just being biased. If Dwayne, if his, if he, I love Dwayne. I love that
Dude,
dude.
if he was healed, he would be top three and he could be fighting for a win. But I mean,
Yes.
the guy can't diet for shit.
He has, he loves food. And that's the great thing I do appreciate about Dwayne is he'll straight up admit it. He doesn't play every prep. He'll, we'll sit back and laugh. Sometimes I'll go, I'm just pissed at the moment, but he'll straight up say, I'll hear the tone in his voice and I'm like, what did you do? And then he'll be like, all right, man. And he'll tell me I ate this. And then, down the conversation, he'll be like, all right, man, I got to be straight with you. This is what I really ate. It was like even worse. But
I,
yeah,
I,
Dwayne,
I don't know how you can deal with that, man, because most coaches wouldn't deal with that. Because, I mean, why would the guy with that much potential, and then he's like blaming everyone after the show, like pissed, saying he's switching to powerlifting, he's done with bodybuilding, the judges suck. I'm like, dude, you weren't in shape. Like, I don't
it's
get it,
just,
man.
it's just, it's, live and learn with stuff. He is getting better with food. Right now, he's 19 weeks out, and he's the best he's been at 19 weeks out. And when
Dude,
he
you gotta you
was,
gotta have him take like phentermine or something where he can't eat. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah, the best he has ever looked, and he got way overlooked. Complete bullshit at the Olympia. Easily first call out. He was absolutely insane. And you know what? And he'll be very honest. He cheated throughout that entire prep, and he still looks that good. If Dwayne,
Yeah,
you
you know what?
know,
I think his best condition was when he beat Clarita.
his condition was fantastic, but the combination of size
Yeah,
and that freakiness at the Olympia, he was just amazing. But there were certain things that had happened, outside that kind of caused some negative waves. But
but
yeah,
Blue, if
better.
you had that guy's genetics, right? If you had that guy's genetics, you would be gunning for that title, right?
Oh yeah, Dwayne will tell you there's so many times I'll say, bro, if I could jump in your body and do the work, just with the food, with the gym, in the gym, he's a fucking animal. Like he is so insanely, it's so crazy in the gym. I've seen him like literally like just put people through insane pain, where we've gotten together in different towns and stuff and have lifted. And uh if he gets that same mentality with food, because that's the other thing that that's not brought up that much either is Dwayne doesn't take a lot of stuff. I can, oh dude, we
Well,
should get
you can just tell what happened with him because he turned pro basically natural at USA's.
Yes,
And look at how I know he was taking like just like some Clennon stuff or whatever. But I mean, look at how much progress he made in just 1 year of being enhanced. You could
yes,
tell his genetic response is so fucking crazy. I know for a fact if he was 100% with everything, he could max out at 212, shredded, peeled,
yes,
good shape, and beat everyone. But
yes, I absolutely, he would be
I
Mr.
don't know.
Olympia.
I don't know how you do with that as a coach, man. Like when, because I don't know, man. That's just laziness. That's
Well,
frustrating.
it's just because there is other elements that do go on, like because he is running a business. He has a family. There is other things, and
But
he and
I don't think you as a competitor would even commit to a show if you weren't 100%. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, he still is new to the sport in a sense. He's getting better and better with the food, and it's different. It's harder to get mad at somebody when you have a closer
Yeah, you're his
relationship.
friend. You're his friend.
Yeah, I love Dwayne. Dwayne is an amazing
No,
person,
he's
and I
not
want the
nice.
best for him.
Hey, hopefully he listens to this. Maybe you can get him on some phentermine. Dude, when I was on phentermine, the last thing I wanted was any food.
No,
I,
I've had
I
a
didn't
couple
even
of
want to look
clients
at
take
food.
it, and they couldn't eat nothing. They couldn't eat anything.
Dude,
Like,
I was lucky to get 4 ounces of chicken in 3 times a day on that shit.
oh man. Well, you know what? One time we have to have Dwayne on the show, and
Dude, I'll
it'll be
send him. I have a ton of injectable Clen DNP and ephedra, or no, it's injectable Clen, DNP, phentermine. I have a ton of it. That I'll send it to him for free, just because I want it. No, I'll tell him because look at dude, he won't be able to eat on that shit.
oh man, dude. That yeah. As long as the food's on the money, I mean, yeah. I'm glad you see the same potential because I truly think he would be unbeatable.
I do think in the 212 class, yes,
Yeah,
he does need to bring his back up.
yeah. He's still working on his
And you
back.
know what though? I seen his training videos. Everything is real controlled with him, but his back movements, he kind of just jerks. I guarantee you, he could bring his back up with some mind muscle connection.
Yeah. It's just one of those things still, in the gym, day by day, month by month, he's just getting more and more mentally connected to the muscle.
Yeah.
Because, he still is new to the sport. I mean, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, this, bodybuilding was nowhere on the radar with him.
Dude,
He was in the Navy.
I remember when he was competing against my friend Justin Randall at USA's.
Oh, yeah. Justin, man, Justin's done great for himself too. He's put on a lot of good size.
He's put on a lot because remember they both turned pro at 154 pounds.
Yeah. I've only talked to Justin a couple times. I like him. He's a very nice guy.
Very nice. Yeah, me and him were very close because I used to live down there, and he was best friends with Ariella, my fiance. So that's
Oh,
that. I got him on his first cycle. I got Justin on his first cycle. um,
awesome.
but dude, he was like, you know what I mean? Like he responded very well, because he had all those natural years because he competed as a natural bodybuilder and he exploded, And I think that's what happened with Dwayne because he was natural for so long that when he did put the fucking the juice in there, he just went. His body just blew up.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing
What does he
is,
compete at? Honestly, what does he compete at? What weight?
weight wise,
Yeah.
at the Olympia, he was 202, 204 right now.
Dude, imagine him with 10 pounds and sharper.
He'd be on. That's what I tell him all the time. He'd be
He would
unbeatable.
annihilate that class.
Oh, dude, I know. He's Dwayne has something special about him. He always has since day one. I honestly believe that dude is destined for greatness. I've said it. I know it sounds corny, but it's the truth. That dude really has. I think he's, definitely been physically blessed by God. I mean, he has so much ahead of him.
That 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 shit talking with him in Lunsford was pretty entertaining. I like that.
That got crazy. That got pretty crazy. I would, I wish that hadn't have happened, but
Well,
it is.
it didn't look good on his part when he was in the second call outs, right?
Yeah, because I think that the personality was definitely judged, was part of the judging, but it is what it is.
I do agree with you though. He was overlooked. I would have 100% had him in the first call outs. And that's
yes.
not me just saying that because I'm a friend of yours. I had him in the first call outs, but did I have him winning? Fuck no.
No, he was easily. Flex Lewis is so good.
No, too
He's
good.
on another level.
That was his best showing.
Yeah. Flex is just absolutely amazing, and I could see him winning shows in the Open.
Oh, shows? He'll win a lot of shows in the Open. Do I think
Yes.
he'll win the Olympia? I don't think so.
Well, is Sean Roden? Is he completely out now?
He's gonna. Yeah, he's out. He's
So
out, man.
they took away his pro status, all that.
Well, he won't be able to compete in the Olympia until that's cleared. And I know, dude. I'll tell you. I will text you, but he's not gonna be cleared.
Wow, that's too bad, man.
It's pretty
Wow,
much, they got a lot of evidence on him.
wow, wow. Well, that's too bad. That's too bad for all parties. Wow.
I mean, dude, don't get me wrong, man. Like, anything can happen in court. You know what I mean? But it doesn't look good.
Yeah. Well, the saddest thing is if he is absolutely innocent, the effects it's already taken on his life is it's really really sad.
Well, I
Uh,
mean, me and you are both very loyal to our partners.
mhm.
So, as a fan of bodybuilding, man, like I don't like to see infidelity anyway. So, regardless, he was cheating on his wife. Regardless, he went to a guest posing appearance in another state while his kids and wife were at home and was screwing another chick. Cause obviously they found his semen in her. So, regardless, man, like that's kind of shady. That's slimy, right? It's slimy.
Yeah, I personally don't understand how someone could do that because my wife to me is seriously, bro, like is my heart. Like honestly, and I don't feel weird about saying it, she is literally my heart. And like for me to do something to hurt her would be literally like doing something to myself. Like I just couldn't imagine doing that. And the type of person that can do that to their wife that is their
To do
heart,
that to a loyal friend too.
they would do anything to their quote friend or business relations, anything. So I mean that's a
Anything that
good judge of character is the
if they
loyalty to his
if they
wife.
they put pleasure over relationships, and I don't trust people like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. People just get, I think, with any type of lifestyle, there is dark sides to it, and sometimes people just get caught in that web.
Yeah, I mean, to get convicted of rape, it's there has to be solid evidence for them to even take him in and arrest him in the first place. You can't just go. A chick can't just go and be like, "Hey, he raped me." It took like a year or 8 months to a year for them to even get the rape kit, analyzed, and then for them to say, "Hey, we got to get him." So based on that, I don't know if you read the percentages, but it's like a 1% chance or 2% chance that these guys get off after they've been already, indicted for it. So
Wow. Yeah, sad situation, especially for the woman if that did indeed happen to her. That's life changing. That's really
do you,
sad.
do you have any personal relationship with him?
Was Sean Roden?
Yeah.
No, I don't know him at all. No. But I just seen the things that have went on, and I just thought to myself when I first heard about it, I was like, if he did do this, it's such a sad thing with that woman. If he didn't do this, it's such a sad situation with him because his life is going to get torn apart forever. If it is false. The whole thing is just it's not good
And
for.
just think about it. Just a year prior, he was on the Olympia stage, won the Olympia. His wife and kids joined him on the stage. It just doesn't look good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, hopefully, hopefully, people are healed from this and are able to move on, no matter what the outcome is or the truth behind it. That people are healed from it and are able to move on. You know,
Right.
yeah, it's definitely crazy. Um, any
Hey, we can knock off another question and then we could end this. And I know our next episode we could do in like 2 weeks. And we could do it on the blood work like you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think the other thing we were talking about was synthol. Man,
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's end with that.
yeah, people are really missing out.
Yeah. No. And now, okay. So this is a good question for you. So when I'm strategic about my drug use, I'm not using that much gear so I could implement synthol. But when I go a little too crazy with the gear, you don't really have spots to put the synthol. So I want you, because I already have my own theories and thoughts about it. I want you to tell us what's the difference to you with shooting gear into muscles for spot injections and shooting synthol into muscles for spot injections.
Well, of course, with the gear, the absorption, everything that way, the way it's going to be metabolized is going to be, in and out. There's going to be temporary inflammation. That when you're using, SEO, the inflammation is going to be there a bit longer. I always tell my clients it's like, putting a little bit of air in a balloon over time. It's going to stay there and it's going to add up and it's going to cause internal inflammation. So therefore, the fascia that's holding the muscle, that actual casing, can in time be stretched. You're not using the synthol to, quote, build fake muscle. You're using that to stretch the fascia so that way in terms you can grow real muscle at a faster rate, because genetically a lot of guys, their fascias are either genetically thick or just genetically too tight, or sometimes even both. So, there's research, out there, people, getting their fascias snipped and stuff, to grow certain muscles. So, um, a lot of people are missing out on it. It falls in that same category as insulin, of something that's, has that stigma, but is honestly safer than any of the anabolic androgenic, tools. It's 5R, excuse me, much safer by far. But there's so many ways of running it. Again, it's just there is kind of an art to it, because it's based on the symmetry and the individual's type of muscle. So there's literally 1,000 different ways of doing it, based on what you're trying to prioritize.
And I think it's gotten such a bad rap because you see those idiots on social media with those, shooting hundreds of cc's of mineral oil in their arms from like
Or
different.
like you said, yeah, what was it, melted Vaseline?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The guy was shooting melted Vaseline. Yes.
Yeah, I'll
So
have clients tell me, they'll say, "Dude, I went online and there's this guy in in some village, doing reps with concrete."
yeah,
And I'm like, "Dude, they're not using a real $150 bottle of synthol
no,
and made in
no,
a laboratory."
they're shooting hundreds of cc's a day.
That's just insane.
Yeah.
That's and
So
it's crazy.
it's a supplement. Like to me, it's like okay. So the main reason that I do not tell my clients like, hey, when you shoot gear into the muscle, most gear that you're using, whether it's test probe, some of the gear is going to have some. You're going to have some pain to it the next day, and you're going to be stiff, and it's going to affect the quality of your workouts. If you're using steroids, now when you're using synthol, it's more of a pressure and a pump feeling because it's just oil. There's no drugs in it, so there's no reaction. There's no real crazy, you're not going to build crazy scar tissue. Now, if you're shooting 3 cc's of test prop in your arms are going to be so inflamed and sore and scar tissue buildup. It's not optimal, and then you're going to be sore for a week, and you won't be able to shoot your arm again for another week later. The cool thing about synthol, at least my formulation, is you could shoot it, and then you could shoot it again, 72 hours later, and continue to volumize, like you said, continue
Yes.
to volumize,
And
and the pumps are good. It's not going to affect your workouts. You're not going to have crazy inflammation where you can't even bend your arm. You can still train on it, and the pumps are great. But that's the difference because at the end of the day, yes, oil is oil. But when you mix chemicals like steroids into the oil, your body has a reaction to it. Your body's not reacting to synthol. Basically, if you're using that to stretch the fascia, and over time of training, consistent eating, you're going to build new muscle cells.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's the whole thing. In the beginning, I notice, I mean, with myself and clients, the post injection pain is going to be fairly inflamed, but you end up getting used to it, and then you can move up in the volume and in the location of the muscle and really give it a more natural look. And that's
Exactly. Like
going
I
to
always tell them, any virgin muscle you shoot, no, whether it's water you're shooting, anything, you could shoot plain sterile water in a virgin muscle, and you're going to be sore the next day. But you
hmm
do that for 2 weeks, your body gets used to it. So the longer you do it, you're not going to be sore.
Yes, yeah, your body will get used to it, and the whole point you're doing is to loosen the fascia, and that casing over time will get looser, so it's not as painful to the continuance of stretching. So I've seen guys, where they've started off with, say 1 cc, and they're like, oh my God, dude, just walking in the mall, my arms hurt. Fast forward 6 months later, they're doing 3 cc's in each spot all across their
Yeah.
tricep, and they're not even feeling it, and their arms are growing like crazy, and they're even stopping the use, and their arms are still huge a year later because it actually they were given that option of stretching the fascia and that opportunity for new muscle to given the space to actually do what it needs to do.
And that's a big reason why I came out with my Synthol line is I don't want to ever sell a product that's temporary. You keep the results as long as you're training and you're eating and you're staying on a supplement program. You're not going to just lose. You don't just stop shooting the oil and you lose the size. No, but when you use it, you can continue to build. Now, if you want to come off it completely, you could 100% maintain everything as long as your training, your diet, and everything else is intact. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. It's sad because it falls in one of those categories like
And like
Synthol.
you said, I'd rather have somebody use. Now, I'm talking for experienced bodybuilders. I'd rather have somebody use less gear and use more CEO to even out their physique if they have weak body parts. Obviously, not everyone needs synthol.
Yeah,
Most people.
absolutely.
But if they have a weak body part, I'd rather lower the gear and use some site enhancement. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because like I said, it comes back to that same thing. Is it doesn't matter sometimes what you're eating, how you're training, what gear you're taking. If your fascia is genetically thick and or tight, you know, nothing's going to happen. Some of these guys are, that's the reason, genetically, calves on people and stuff like that. Other muscles just do not grow. Your fascia will not allow the new growth.
Yeah. So yeah,
Uh,
that's a good note to leave on, and then we could have more questions, but yeah, definitely we'll go over the blood work next time. And everyone that's listening to this, I'll probably be starting my folistatin run, and I will keep everyone updated on that. And this is veterinarian grade folistatin that is produced for horses and camels. I'll send you a picture of the paperwork. Actually,
yeah, send me a pic.
hold on, I got it right here. Hold on. This is straight from the place I got it from. It's an instruction manual on how to use it for horses and camels. It says blue. It says this. It says split one vial injection bilaterally into hindquarters. They're talking about horse's
Hindquarters.
leg. So what I'm going to do is my hindquarters is I'm just going to shoot it in the muscle that I'm training that day.
Yeah. Also, what I was going to ask you to do, because I get this question a lot of guys that use that other brand of synthol always ask me which is the strongest SEO product that you carry, because you have a few different ones, but which is the one that is most like that other synthol? What is your strongest version?
Okay, so if your clients are listening to this and you're a fan of Synthorol, Synthorol has silica in it. So my Formula 3 has silica in it, but I only recommend the number 3 for once a week injections because it sits in the muscle a lot longer. But hey, you have your own protocol. If you like to have them jab that multiple times a week, that's fine. But if my clients are listening to this, you know, I don't even recommend Synthol to like my average clients, only to like guys that are experienced. You know what I mean? Like it, the only people that use Synthol are bodybuilders. I don't recommend my average everyday clients, and I only train like 3 to 5 prep guys a year. Um, so number one and number two are number one is MCT based. Number two, we added shark oil, which is like from the 90s, early 2000s. Your number three, we added silica, and it's close to that Trevor Smith formula with capric acid and all that other stuff. And then my number four, number four, man, is for somebody who only doesn't want to shoot like a half cc or 1 cc, and it's hyaluronic acid mixed with oil, and you just shoot it in like small body parts, like the short head of your triceps. So, for instance, they could put like number three or number two in their fatty head, where they could put more oil in, and then they put like a half cc of the hyaluronic acid in their short head before they train. But for your clients, since they like silica, since you like silica, and you like a product that stays in the muscle longer, then you would have them go with number 3.
Okay.
If you like a oil that disperses faster and that doesn't sit in the muscle that long, then you'd go up by number 2 or number 1.
Okay. Okay. Good. No, that's good info.
Yeah.
Definitely, because I get that question a lot about your product.
Yeah, because you remember Synthroid is very thin oil, and that was the plus about Synthroid in 2014 before they changed their formula, is that it flew in 2014 is when me and you really got into the synthol talk, and I still have some of their old formula because remember they changed their formula recently and I'm not a fan of it at all. But Synthol in 2014 was very smooth, meaning you could shoot that shit through a 27 gauge if you wanted to. You know what I mean? Now it's very thin still, but they took out all the cool ingredients, that I like the capric acid and all that other stuff. That really, to me, enhance the pump, the blood flow, and all that other stuff. So, like you said, man, when people contact me, I tell them, hey, try it all. Try painless pumps, try Synthol, try my product. See what you like best, because I'm not one of those guys that is like, only use my product, Try it all. See what you like best.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. Research.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
cool, man. Yeah. Next video, we'll definitely dive deeper into the blood work. And then in the future, we'll get Dwayne, get some other people on.
Maybe I'll get my blood work and we can talk about how fucking horrible it is.
Well, good. Yeah, this is good, bro.
Sounds good.
Yeah, we'll close it here. That way we can put it on Instagram and everything like that. And then I'll shoot you over the video and all that stuff tonight.
Sounds good, man. Have a good night.
Awesome, brother. I'll talk to you soon.